Okay, Google, play the Vacation Impossible podcast.
Sorry, I don't know how to help with that yet.
Son of a... Welcome to the live stream. I got a new toy for Christmas, and that's awesome, but it doesn't seem to know that my podcast exists. So, mixed feelings. Anyways, surprise, gonna do some channel reviews, tutorials, Q&A, whatever we got. I don't know how long I got, but I'm here for a good time, not a long time, as they like to say. So just bear with me quickly as I share this live stream in some key Facebook groups, most notably Small YouTubers Boost. All right, looks like we already got 2 people watching. That's very exciting. Thank you for joining us. I'm not up on chat yet. Stand by. I'm getting, I hope, a little bit better at this. The setup time shouldn't take as long as previous live streams, assuming my computer cooperates. But, yeah, we're doing the thing. Amanda's Right Life. Hey, welcome back. Ulrike and Brenda Canada and a bunch of other people. I'm not going to greet everyone right now because I need to... Wait a minute. Where'd the breakout... Oh, there we go. Pop-out chat. Like a ninja. Let me just get that up and running. All right, I got a chat window up. And I'm just going to share this in a bunch of Facebook groups, and then we're going to start the party. Small YouTubers Boost. That's where we're from. That's where we take our name. I'm the administrator there. This is a group of small YouTubers on Facebook that has over 55,000 members, and that is awesome. We've got a really strong community there, and that's part of what I'm trying to support here. You know, a lot of people come into the group and they just think that we're doing some sort of, I don't know, dodgy stuff to game the system, and that's not really what we're about. We're about more long-term sustainable support, the kind of advice that you can hopefully just do, you know, maybe you learn something new. Maybe you tweak your approach just a little bit, but then it can have long-term improvements for the success of your channel is the idea. And so these live streams are they're becoming a more important part of that, and also kind of enjoyable for me, so I like that. Also on this channel, you will find some tutorial videos that I've been making. We also have member tip videos. Member tip videos are videos that are submitted by members from the Small YouTubers Boost Facebook group, and they include a tip. We only have one so far. John of Stupid Robot Fighting League has done his. It was his idea. He got the ball rolling on that. But if you've got a tip video and you'd like to submit it, let us know. You'll need to find a way to send it to us. Google Drive, OneDrive, some other thing. We'll figure it out. And, of course, you can mention your channel. We'll have a link in the description, you know, all that kind of stuff. But we will, just because it's complicated, we'll have to retain ownership of the content, just because I don't, if this ever monetizes or anything down the road, I don't have to deal with complicated stuff. So that's that. Anyways, let's get right into it, because like I said, I don't know how much time I have. I'm done sharing it, so let's get into it. Amanda's Right Life. I reviewed your channel last time, so I'm going to dive into the next one. And Brenda Canada. Sorry if I'm mangling your name. Oh, it's pretty much a guarantee I mangled that name right there. I do apologize. Is Canada your last name, or are you located in Canada? As a fellow Canadian, perhaps I should be a little better there. All right, and are you doing reviews? I am doing reviews, and you're up first, because you asked. And you're the first one here that I didn't review last time. So this is interesting here. Actually, before I dive too far into this, I should set up our standard ground rules and disclaimers. So, ground rules, we've got two. Our 2 ground rules. Number 1, I won't be subscribing to anyone. The reason for that is I don't want this in chat or elsewhere for you to become trying to sell me on your channel to get 1 more subscriber. I sincerely hope that this is more useful than just 1 more subscriber. I'm hoping to help, maybe give you a little insight, advice, an idea, whatever, to help you find many. And through the algorithm and other things, you know, sort of economies of scale. And so that's part of it. The other half is I'm not going to be watching any videos. In fact, I'm going to turn off my speakers right now as part of support of that. I don't want content ID match problems. I don't want you thinking I'm trying to host your content. More than Ooh, excuse me. More than anything else, it's because one 2-hour video is going to be more than this session's likely to last, and then I can't do anything else, help anyone else. So it's just not practical for me to do that. So that's the ground rules. Just a couple notes. There should be, if I set it up right, a link in the description to TubeBuddy. It is an affiliate link. This video is not sponsored, but if you do follow the affiliate link and eventually get the paid version, I do get a little something. Has no impact on the price you pay. But also the free version has a lot of cool tools, and a lot of the stuff you're going to be seeing here is actually, a lot of it is available in one degree or another in the free version. So, but we're not here trying to sell stuff. It is a tool that I find incredibly useful, particularly in ththese live streams. And that's part of why I do tutorial videos on it, because I find it super useful. So looking at the screen, no, I'm pointing, this is all backwards to me. So like if you see up here somewhere, further along there, you're going to see like the Search Explorer thing. If you don't have TubeBuddy, you're not going to see that. That's a browser plugin. And so it adds additional things to your browser when you're on YouTube. And so I'm going to be showing you that and using some of that to look at your channels and see what's going on. So I think that's all the disclaimers and stuff out of the way. Let's dive into our first channel review. So I searched your name. Search volume is low, which I think is to be expected given the type of name that it is. And the competition's relatively low, so it gets a good score. Most used tags. Number 1 is Merry Christmas. That's interesting. For those of you watching, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy Holidays for whatever you may or may not be celebrating. Could just be an extra day off work for you, or maybe it's even more work. I don't know, but I hope that the season brings you, you know, peace and family and joy and harmony and all those wonderful things, and maybe a little extra money somewhere along the line, if that's something that you need. But I hope that things are going well for everyone. Yeah, so Merry Christmas, Canada are the top 2 used tags in relation to this search, which is interesting. All of the videos that are coming up in the search are from the same channel, so not a lot of competition on the name, and that's to be expected given that kind of name. So far, just looking at the name, I don't know what the channel's about, except that you are either in Canada, are Canadians, or your last name's Canada, or it's about Canada. Those are all guesses. I don't know. I'm looking at the profile picture now, which is a person inside of a sunflower, and it looks like the word Brenda. So I think there is some work to be done on that, because it doesn't look like it's intentionally centered and displaying probably the way you intend. Maybe it is. I don't know. It could be a stylistic thing, but like Brenda's largely being cut off. The D and the A is being cut off a bit. So the picture is interesting. I'm kind of intrigued, but partly just because it's a mystery and I don't yet know from your profile picture what your channel's about. So if you do need some help with designing profile pictures and some other art for your channel, there is another service called TalentZ that's $7.99 a month, I believe, US, where they give you unlimited graphic services. And so like my profile picture on Facebook, I'm Ray, the administrator of Small YouTubers Boost. You can go look at my profile picture there, was done by TalentZ. So if you're struggling to find a good profile picture, I do recommend them. I think there's a link in the description, but I think it's to their old website. I think I need to update that. So anyways, if you search in the group, there's a link, and also my last tutorial should have the proper link as well in the description, but I still need to fix it for these live streams. So moving on, we're seeing 258 subscribers and 45 videos. The description starts off with the email address, which is interesting. And frankly, I don't advise it. I'll talk more probably about that later, but a couple problems with this right now is that at the very beginning of your description, it's giving an email rather than describing something. So I don't think it's immediately doing what you would want on at the very front, and so people might not continue reading beyond that. It is a risk. The other concern is that a spider or a bot or a hacker or someone could come along and very easily capture this email address. There are a lot of automated programs, I'm told, I've never used them, but I've read about them, that will just crawl across the internet scrolling for things formatted in, you know, something at something dot something. That is like the email format. And if it captures that, it grabs it, pops it into a database, and then starts sending you spam. And then these people, they'll like sell these lists on the dark web or whatever. And so I would recommend putting your email in the place where YouTube actually recommends you to display your email, so that someone has to click on it so that the bots can't capture it that way. And also not having it at the beginning of your description is my straight off the bat advice. So I am Ulrich, I don't know, and I speak German. I like bats, Dracula, vampires, and heavier metal music. I live in, I wonder if the next word's Canada, but I don't know, because that's where it truncates. So I'm guessing this is a personal channel, possibly about you as a personality, maybe a vlog channel, but I'm guessing. Or it could be videos about bats, Dracula, vampires, and heavy metal music, because there is sort of there's a bit of a theme amongst that. So I don't know. Let's dive right into the channel and see what we can see. So this is interesting. The banner is very Christmassy. You know, 'tis the season. And so I do, you know, I like the banner, but the banner doesn't tell me much. And it's such a close zoom into the image. There's two things with that. One is I can't really tell what I'm looking at. It looks like ornaments in a Christmas tree, an artificial Christmas tree, but I can't be fully certain. The other thing is that the resolution it's at looks a little grainy. So if you're able to pull back on the image, if this is a zoom in or maybe capture something new possibly, that's just a little feedback there. Also, again, the banner doesn't tell me what your channel is necessarily about, so it doesn't convey much information. I caution other people about putting too much information in their banners, but a clue as to what the channel is about is a good idea. I see you've got a Google Plus social link on the side. I'm going to give you the lightning round version of my Twitter rant. I recommend all YouTubers sign up for Twitter, and here's why. I want you to lock down your name and your brand on Twitter so that someone else doesn't come along and take it out from under you. If you become an overnight success while you're sleeping, somebody in, I don't know, a famous person in Uganda or South Korea or Russia or somewhere else, Europe, whatever, while you're sleeping, or whatever side of the planet is opposite from where you are. Maybe you're in Germany and I tweet about you and somehow I don't know, I'm not famous, I can't help you there. But somebody really famous, you know, Brad Pitt tweets about you or something, and then all of a sudden you're famous overnight, and while you're sleeping, other people have gone in and created accounts pretending to be you, trying to capitalize on your hard work and success. Don't let that happen. Go create the account, if for no other reason than to lock it down and that username. Step 2, you can tie it into your YouTube so that every time you upload a video, add a video to a playlist, like a video even, although you can turn that off, depends if you want that. I don't fully recommend that one. Although it worked for Rule of Two Review, who has well over 5,000 subscribers, he gets invited to the launches of video game consoles. So, I don't know. Maybe that's the way to go. But my point is, set it up once, tie it into your YouTube, and if you don't want to touch it again, that's fine. But you've locked down the username to protect your brand, and you're automatically sharing stuff without doing any extra work on your part. It's a one-time setup on the front end that might pay off over time. You know, one of the things that sometimes people talk about in relation to YouTube and other online activities is something called passive income. And the philosophy behind passive income is not that you don't do anything. It's that you do the work on the outset, and then you collect and you reap the benefits over time. And it's the benefits over time. That's sort of what I'm talking about with this Twitter thing. You do the work once on the front end, and then if you want, never touch it again, and it might still continue working for you. Set it and forget it. That's the Twitter rant. There's a longer version as a video on this channel. So what I'm seeing here is activities. So it's like channels you've subscribed to, and that seems to go on for screens. I don't recommend this as a good channel layout. There's no videos of yours for me to click on. And so that's somewhat problematic. And also, as a protection against sub for sub, I recommend that I don't think people should hide their subscriber count. I recommend against that, but I do suggest people hide who they have subscribed to, because that way you don't get into a whole, an exchange, which is against YouTube's terms of service. Sub for sub will get your channel taken away with virtually no notice and no recourse to you. So I'm not saying you're doing that. I'm just saying that that's one way that I think that sub for subbers, and I don't know because I just ban them from the group and move on with my life, but I suspect they look for people who have their subscriptions public so they can know and you know, oh, did you keep up your end of this, you know, evil bargain, basically this scam. So you know, that's sort of, I don't recommend it. And I mean, there could be, you make your own choices, because I suppose if you subscribe to someone and that information is shared, they do get a notification. But I don't think that's a good way to get yourself out there. When I was on VidMe, otherwise known as vid.me, which died about a year ago, as an alternative to YouTube, there was at least one channel in particular, but a few did this, where they would do the VidMe equivalent of subscribing to me and then immediately not. And sometimes they do it over and over again over a period of days or weeks or even hours. And I was getting these email notifications about, oh, I have new, I think they called them followers. And I would go in and I didn't have any, or it hadn't increased. I mean, no new ones. And so I reached out to the developers on Reddit, and they basically, the theory on Reddit that we came up with, and it's the only way I can explain it, short of a glitch, is that they were mass subscribing to trigger these notifications that emails link to their channel, and then unsubscribing. Don't do that. That is the kind of suspicious activity that the algorithm on YouTube catches and will flag your channel for review or just shut you down. So I'm not saying that this person is doing any of those things. It's just seeing this prompted me to talk about it for a moment, because I can't talk against sub for sub enough, because the number of times that people have joined our Facebook group or have already been there, and then they're talking about they lost their channel, and they said, I did nothing wrong. And then we ask them like 2 or 3 questions, and if they answer, we very rapidly find out that frequently they were doing sub for sub. And it sucks for them, because maybe they put in good effort, maybe they had great content, maybe it was just this one mistake, maybe they didn't know. Whatever it was, I don't want to vilify anybody, but there's nothing they can do. Technically, by the rules, you're not even supposed to create a new channel. So even if you have these great videos, you're in theory not supposed to re-upload them under a new account. So it's just a mess. Don't do it. And again, I'm not saying this person's doing it, but that's part of why I don't show what I subscribe to people. I don't want to get into that whole mess. So, anyways, your channel layout needs to have your most recent uploads, a channel trailer if you can do it, and some playlists. So I'm going to take a look at your videos here. See, so yeah, you've got a few videos. If I remember correctly, it was like 45 was the number that it displayed. This doesn't, I'm not sure if that's the number shown here. But anyway, some of these videos should be on your home screen. And so if you can think of, a half dozen cool moments where something awesome happened on your channel, things went well, then oh yeah, I saw I got a Facebook Messenger thing. I'll check it sometime later. And also, hi John, welcome to the live stream. Good to have you here. Strong supporter of myself, Small YouTubers Boost, and my other channel. I don't have Facebook Messenger on my phone, because as the admin of a group of 55,000 people, it would just not stop buzzing. My phone became unusable because it was constantly getting notifications. Some days I'll get like 100 messages from people on Facebook, and just for my own mental health and well-being and work-life balance, whatever you want to call it, I only look at my Facebook messages when when I choose to, when I'm on desktop or my tablet, and I sit down and I'm like, okay, now I'm going to check my messages. So if you see something wrong in the group, use the report function. That tells myself and the 9 mods. So you get 10 sets of eyes on it instead of waiting for me in a private message. The one exception to that is if you're getting private messages yourself that are problematic, then you need to send screenshots to someone, and doing that with me is fine, but I might not respond right away. So if somebody sends me a Facebook message and I don't get to it promptly, I'm not ignoring you. It's just how I manage my interactions with the internet. Because, yeah, I got to turn that tap off, or otherwise it's drinking from a fire hose. Speaking of drinking, just got back from the movies. I went to go see Once Upon a Deadpool. I recommend it. I'd seen Deadpool 2. And I was watching this version, and there's new stuff that at one point I was laughing so hard, I was crying. I was crying so much that like the sleeves of my sweater were insufficient to dry the tears, and I had to take a handkerchief out just to, it's good. I recommend it. Anyways, if there's a half dozen cool things that you've done on your channel, effects you're proud of, jokes you made, interesting things you captured, if you can put those together into what we call a sizzle reel, that can be a channel trailer, 30 to 90 seconds maximum, generally speaking. You can set it to some free copyright music, you can talk over it, you can use the original audio from the clips, whatever's good for you. But that can serve as a channel trailer so that when people come to your channel, they know what you're about, because honestly, don't really feel a cohesive message here yet. Let's see playlists. Okay, well, you got some playlists. So some of those playlists you should be able to add to your homepage. You got travel. It's interesting. Mad TV I'm hoping you're not re-uploading things from the sketch show because I can't imagine you have the rights to that. Also, songs in English. Maybe this is a playlist linking to things outside your channel. I'm not sure. But if you're hosting content you don't have the copyright to, that could take your channel. They could take it away like that. 3 copyright strikes and you're out. So if you're linking to something else, then that's fine. But if you're hosting it yourself, that can be problematic. Let's check out the Channelytics here. This is the TubeBuddy tool. I have a tutorial video about how to use this here on this channel, Small YouTubers Boost. And so it displays some interesting information. Most notable, what I want to look at right now, let me just make those things. Yeah. Sometimes the subscriber screen doesn't update right away, but if you toggle it to something else and then back to subscribers, then it comes up. Anyways, it's the channel tags that I really wanted to talk about because it's something that many small YouTubers, and maybe some of the large ones too, often neglect and forget. You might set it up when you first create your account and then never really go back to it, but it influences your SEO for everything that you do. It influences it for your channel and for all of your videos to a degree. At least that's my understanding. Obviously, we don't know the algorithm, and we kind of take educated guesses, but why not make good channel tags? It helps in terms of searching, because people search videos, but they also search channels. So the only 2 tags I see here is Canada and Germany. So if you're a German expat living in Canada, then that might make sense, but then also put that as a tag. And again, so make it easy for people to know rapidly what your channel is about so they can decide whether or not they want to opt in, because they're more likely to absent information. Generally, people think the worst, assume the worst, fear the worst, whatever you want to call it, and so they're probably not as likely to continue. So make it easy for them to get a handle on it, and if it's something they don't like, then, you know, that's fine. I don't think you'll scare people off with that you would have otherwise roped in or something or gained as followers. So I'd say just be upfront with that. And so try to flesh out the tags and add more there. This is about the only thing here that I really want to look at, although I am noticing that you've had some subscriber growth lately. That's doing quite well. You're kicking my channel's butt. I'm currently logged in as my Vacation Impossible channel. It's my primary channel with over 1,000 subscribers. The reason for that is I have the Legend account with TubeBuddy for that channel, and that's like the biggest, greatest, you know, TubeBuddy you can get. And so I want the full suite of tools at my disposal during these live streams. That's why I'm logged in under that account. I'm only using the free version for Small YouTubers Boost. But anyways, so you've had some strong subscriber growth. I would say, you know, going all the way back to December 12th. So what have you been doing? And I kind of that has done that. And can you scale it up? Can you continue to do it? You know, that's a sign of some success that you might be able to further capitalize on. Looking at the views don't seem to have a corresponding increase with the subscriber growth, which is a little unusual. The views seem to have been steady over the same period. And well, that number's not right. And so you've had a steady run of some videos being uploaded, so that could be driving the subscriber growth. I'm noticing here that you have days where you uploaded 4 and 3 and 2 videos. I don't recommend that for people. I recommend a maximum of 1 video per day for a couple of reasons. For one, the first 24 hours in your video is a very critical metric. In fact, for your video, the first hour, the first 24 hours, and the first week are the 3 most important time frames. The first hour is something we call view velocity. How many views you get in the first hour is often a sign of your subscriber engagement and how successful the video will be. So YouTube's algorithm looks at that first hour as being pretty critical. The next level of attention it pays is for the first 24 hours. If you can get your video up its first 100 views in that first hour or that first day, that's pretty good. That will favor you in search and discoverability. You'll rank higher as a result because YouTube's going to be like, hey, they got something here, even if it's early days. I mean, of course, if you can get more than 100, then that's great. Maybe some of you normally do. But I think the thinking behind that magic 100 is that you can have a video that just blows up insane, or a video that blows up for a short period of time, or you can have the slow burn, like with a long tail keyword. That's a keyword that has multiple words within it and is longer. Those often, they'll get some views over time that might be steady, but they're not likely to see drastic peaks and valleys or spikes. So if and so I think that 100 is sort of a good metric of those long-term, evergreen, long-tail keywords, you know, slow burns versus the flash in the pan. And so those are some good goals to set for yourself when you launch a video. I say launch because people can upload it as private and then make it public later. So that's just why I'm using that terminology. So if that first 24 hours is critical and you have 3 other videos coming out in the same 24 hours, you could be cannibalizing your audience. And I don't recommend that. And I'm looking here, you had to stretch from November 19th to the 26th with no videos, and then other patches with no videos. And so if you have 4 that you've completed in a day, release 1, and then get the others ready to go so that you can have a steady stream of videos for a period of time. 1 a day is ideal so that you always have 1 video in that first key 24-hour period. If that's too much for you, like for example, when YouTube first announced its new monetization rules back in January, I hunkered down for Vacation Impossible and decided to release a video a day for 30 days. And it was a slog. It drained me. I was exhausted. It helped the channel, but it was probably too much. And I think my editing suffered a little bit for it. I think some of the videos I put out during that time frame I'm still proud of, but I think they could have been better if I'd taken a bit more time. But if you get into a situation where you can have a back catalog of things ready to go, and then you can continue working on the next thing, and so you have a period, because that's even that thing. If you look at the Social Blade score for Vacation Impossible, for example, and you see what happened in January and February because of that 30-day push, that really jump-started my channel and had a lasting impact. So even if you just have a period, so people do like Vlogmas, Vlogtober, other things where they do like a video a day for a month or, you know, a set period of time, you know, having something new every day is more algorithmically friendly, if you will. So that's just my little rant about that. Hopefully you're taking all this as constructive and with a grain of salt, because my biggest successful channel only has 1,070 subscribers. It's only recently been remonetized. So, but I have been, you know, filming since 2001. I've been on YouTube since 2006. I had videos on YouTube since 2008. And, you know, I've been in this Facebook group I think it's actually like our 2-year anniversary, like right about now. So, so I've seen quite a bit. I might not have always had the free time or the technical skill or the content to fully capitalize on it, but I think I picked up some things. I imagine, you know, you're here to gain some insight. So, and you know, people in chat can correct me if I'm wrong or propose alternate ideas. Just gonna look at the About page here. Actually, I'm also going to go back to the homepage before I get into the About page. There is related channels here, but another key thing is there's a box you can activate if you go here and click Edit Channel to actually suggest specific channels yourself. And I highly recommend it for a couple of reasons. One, the algorithm, I think, favors people that use as many YouTube features as possible. I think it's a way that you signal to YouTube that you take it seriously. And YouTube is a hungry data beast, and it wants to know everything. And so that's one of the ways you can give it more information. So I recommend turning that on and recommending either channels that you like, channels in your niche, or channels you've collaborated with. In addition to that, it shows the community, either the YouTube community or the community around your genre, that you support other people, and so that makes you look good. There's also something called session watch time. So let's say you get your channel trailer up and running. Someone comes to your channel, watches the channel trailer, and then they see a channel you've recommended. They go to that, and then they spend the next 2 hours watching that channel. You kind of get a form of credit for that. It's not like a referral thing, but it's session watch time. There's watch time in terms of how long somebody watches your video, but session watch time is how long they watch videos without going to another website or closing the browser. So this helps you because if yours is the first video they watch, but you're the gateway that gets them to watch 2 hours of other content, getting ads displayed to them, which YouTube I'm sure likes, then that helps you in the algorithm. So that's something to consider. So I get concerned about small YouTubers thinking about YouTube as some sort of zero-sum game where helping someone else diminishes you in some way. Like there's only so many views and subscribers out there to get. It really doesn't work that way. YouTube's constantly growing, for one thing. There's always new people signing up. But I think that that's such a limiting way of looking at the world, and in YouTube and specifically. I think it's more, to quote a song and band that I'm actually not that fond of, you get what you give. And so, you know, what you extend of yourself, whether you believe in karma, the power of positive thinking, or reciprocity, it's just been my experience that the more I'm trying to be helpful, the more successful I end up being. Maybe I make a tutorial video that helps someone else save money or understand something better. Then that video tends to do well, get lots of comments, likes, maybe it drives subscribers, or, you know, maybe not. Maybe it's just one or two people say, you know, thanks for helping me, you made a big difference, and that's lovely to hear. But I find that when I'm focusing on that kind of stuff, I end up doing better just generally. It's kind of the way the universe seems to work in my experience. So that's just one opportunity that you can help other people. And again, it's a set it and forget it. You do it once and don't worry about it again if you don't want to. Rant about that over. Moving on to the description. You live in Toronto, Canada. Cool. I had a dream the other night about flying to Toronto. It might be because one of my top 3 favorite bands ever recently got back together, Hootie and the Blowfish. They're making a new album, they're touring, and the only Canadian date is in Toronto. And I very much want to see them, but I am in Vancouver. And that is not a cheap flight for a variety of reasons that I could probably talk about on my travel channel. Government regulation and competition, largely. But anyways, so that's cool. I like Toronto. Okay, I see. So and Brenda's the other person. Another email there. Okay, and you do have the email address set up in the click to view, but because there are 2 of you, you have a separate email for both. Okay, I understand that. That makes more sense to me now. Maybe just move it towards the end and start the description off with the channel about both of you. About the channel writ large. Okay, and Brenda is in Alberta. So who is in chat, I wonder? How, you know, are you the more West Coast person? It's cool. I mean, I like seeing these 2 people in Canada collaborating with each other, which is cool. But please put relevant videos in playlist. That's an interesting request. A video I had that found some success a couple years ago is a video of me and my friend getting kicked off rides at Six Flags. It's controversial. People watch it and find that they hate me. And I get a lot of hate in the comment section, but that's fine. We tried to present it in a way that was fair and showed everything. And so where we make mistakes, we show them. We try not to paint ourselves as saints in that one. But the reason I mentioned that is it did get added to some playlists, and that did drive a lot of traffic to our channel. So it's interesting that you asked for that, and it occurs to me not many people do. And so I'm curious if you're finding that that's working and driving traffic for you, because people ask for a lot of things and often don't get them. But if that's working for you, I'd be very curious to know that. You've been on YouTube since 2012, and so yeah, you've got your Google Plus link there. So I think I've covered that relatively in depth. Not bad for a free review. I'm going to go and get caught up on chat now, so just bear with me as I travel back in time. Amanda created her own Facebook group. Well, I think I remember approving a post about that. Well, you took some of the tips in. That's cool. Working on your thumbnails. And again, if you want help with thumbnails, the TubeBuddy, I believe it's one of the paid versions, has a thumbnail creator that I tried out on a previous live stream. You can go see where I took one of my old thumbnails and punched it up a little using TubeBuddy. And again, if you're someone struggling with thumbnails, Talent Z also creates thumbnails for you. And that's, like I said, $7.99 a month for unlimited graphic services. Oh, Amanda said that my advice helped her out. So I'm hoping that that's driving, traffic, subscribers, views. Glad to hear it. You are Canadians. That's cool. I was actually born in the U.S., but I've been in Canada since I was like 4, so I'm like super Canadian. Maybe I overcompensate for where I was born, and like that makes me like ultra Canadian in my efforts. I don't know. Amanda would like me to take another quick look at her channel. I think I could probably do that. Talking about web crawlers, talking about Canada. Yeah, start advertising on Twitter. I need to do more of that too. I need to get more engaged on Twitter. Achilles Melee has been kind of reminding me, encouraging me strongly to be more involved on Twitter. He'll probably go back and watch this if he's not here now. So, hello. How do you get your hashtags in blue above the title? Yeah, you just put the hashtag anywhere in the description. I recommend probably putting it somewhat lower since it appears in blue at the top anyways. You can put it at the very bottom if you want. And you just put the hashtag in front of it, and that word will appear in blue. Maximum 3 pulls the first 3, so don't do more than 3. That's another thing that Achilles Melee keeps reminding me is the hashtags. I've been trying to get better about putting hashtags in my video. I go back and I work on my back catalog, and as I'm optimizing things with TubeBuddy or whatever, I try to throw them in. Ultimate Gamer asks, is TubeBuddy's Legendary Pack worth it? Honestly, for most smaller YouTubers, it's probably not. I mean, I'm probably being a bad salesperson here, but that's not why I'm here. To be completely honest, the Pro or the Star Pack is probably good enough. I've dived into one of my previous live streams. I went in and actually edited the tags on one of my videos, and I scrolled through all of the tag suggestions, and it goes on for what feels like days. And so I want, like, that might be a bit much. I don't know. I think maybe I went a little crazy getting Legendary. I'm not entirely sure. You can check TubeBuddy's site, and they list out the various features. But if you haven't started with a paid version at all yet, start with Pro or Star. Don't jump straight to Legendary. Because for one thing, there's so much stuff in there. I've been using it since August, and I still can't figure it all out. Not because it's hard, but because there's so much of it, and I'm just a busy guy. And I try to make, time for live streams and stuff, so I don't have time to necessarily dive into that. I'm slowly working my way through all the different parts of TubeBuddy, and I'm going to be producing these tutorial videos about it. But if you go from like free to Legendary, it can be a little overwhelming, and so I'd recommend go Pro or Star, and you can always upgrade later if you think that it's worth the time and the money. But anyways, Amanda wanted me to take another look at her channel, so I will take a quick glance. I think I know what I'm going to do here, but we'll take a look. Okay, I do like that profile picture. I do product reviews, vlogs, college life, and I run my website. College is hard, and I hope that my videos can help someone out. Awesome. You got me understanding what you're about right away, and you got the why in there too. It's hard, and you want to help someone out. You want to make it less hard for other people. That's a noble ambition and purpose that people can identify with. That's awesome. Video results, are you or a channel you've collaborated with? That's good. And I think I talked about the thumbnails before, so I like the post-it note, but I think the background could be more visually engaging and more identifiable. Let's dive in. I know you were having some issue with how your channel name was displaying. I hope that gets sorted out for you. I think it's something in Google Plus that carries over to YouTube. And also these things sometimes take time to propagate, so maybe you've already fixed it, because I'm seeing Amanda's Right Life right now. The search results, sometimes that takes longer to re-index and re-update. So if, I forget what this used to say, but if this used to say something different and now says what you want, but it's not showing up in search, give it some more time, and don't try to solve the problem again. It'll probably be okay. So I see here that you have a banner that is super readable. It's a white text on a black background, not much in the way of visual, so I would recommend a graphic or something behind it to make it more visually engaging. I'm a little concerned, and this could be nothing, maybe it's fine, I'm a little concerned about how wide the text is. Does that look great on a cell phone? Check it out if you haven't. If it does, then cool. There's also something interesting here, is I'm seeing some artifacts of graphic compression on this banner, which is interesting. So I'm wondering if you're uploading it at the recommended resolution or if it's the software you're using. I'm not sure. I have sort of a secret I'm working on, a secret project. This is something that Achilles Melee has been talking to me about, and I've been thinking about. And I might be crazy. This might be a snipe hunt, but I might be onto something. So we've been Achilles and I have been talking about metadata. We all know about the keywords that you put into YouTube when you upload a video, and I've talked about channel keywords, which are often neglected. But what about the metadata on the file? Does YouTube, does Google, does Bing, Yahoo, whoever out there, do they read that? And so I've been going through and finding old videos, some of my worst performing videos of all time with like 10 and 13 views each that have thumbnails that are embarrassing, honestly. And I'm updating the thumbnails, but I'm doing something different. Is I'm going into the properties of these JPEGs, and I'm looking at the metadata where you can have a title, a subject, tags, and an author. And I'm putting that in there because I'm wondering, if you search for images on Google Image Search, for example, you can get thumbnails from YouTube videos. And so that could be a way of driving traffic. Does the Google image search indexing factor in the meta tags from the JPEG? I don't know if I'm crazy, but what if I'm onto something? I don't know. I've done a little bit of searching myself, and from what I can tell, people aren't really talking about that. So is that because this is a dead end that'll take me nowhere, and maybe the metadata is stripped as soon as it's uploaded and maybe recompressed on the back end in their database? I don't know. Partly because it takes a while for search indexes to re-index your stuff. And so if I were to like download the image, you know, my updated images aren't necessarily showing up yet. I've only been doing it for a few days. But I'm testing it out because I'm curious. Because what if this is a thing that we figure out and we use that everybody else doesn't know about and maybe gives us an algorithmic advantage? I don't know. Could be a crazy theory that might go nowhere. I'm doing the same thing with my video files. On my Vacation Impossible channel, I uploaded a new video today. It's the first video that I went in and I edited that metadata before uploading it. And I put in, and on video, you can do a whole lot more in like Windows 10 on the file properties. You can put a lot more information in. And so I tried to populate that. I don't know if it'll have an impact. My video that I uploaded today seems to be doing relatively well. I uploaded it about 11 hours ago. It has 154 views. So versus my recent videos, that's pretty good. I would say for my Vacation Impossible channel, it's well within the good range, but not it's a hit video range. So, you know, it might reach like 1,000 views like 6 months from now or something, but it's not going to blow up overnight. But it might be a steady performer of evergreen content over time. It's also a subject I don't think people had made videos about, so hopefully I identified a unique niche there, kind of Google hacked it. If you're not familiar with the term Google hacking, that's where you put 2 words into Google and you get no search results. It's an old game that doesn't really work great anymore, but that's one way to find something people might not be talking about. Anyways, I've gone a little off topic here, but I'm just thinking about this metadata thing and what if it's something. Because it doesn't take very long to do. You can just take the title of the file, and maybe the file name could be relevant too. It's more information that algorithm can crunch on and say, oh, it's really about this. So maybe the file name and maybe the metadata matters. So I'm testing that out. And one of the things that I've been doing, and honestly it feels like a giant waste of my time, tiny bit of time, but totally unproductive, is I've been uploading my thumbnails to Flickr. And including a link to the YouTube video. And I've gotten no traffic from Flickr. It's actually my brother-in-law really recommended it because he's found success there as a photographer. Don't think it works well with my content or YouTube channel, but here's where it gets interesting, thinking about this metadata thing. I uploaded the thumbnail from today's video that I added that metadata to, and on Flickr a message popped up and says, would you like to use the hidden metadata to populate our fields? And so I did, and it populated like the tags for Flickr. And so Flickr's reading that, and that makes sense because they probably also read like what camera it's been filmed on or captured on because it's a photography site, a picture hosting site. But someone cares about metadata. I don't know, but if it goes somewhere, I will be talking about it more. I'll share it in the Facebook group. I'll make a tutorial video. I'll get the word out. And if it goes nowhere, I might never mention it again and just hide my face in embarrassment. So, anyways, looking here. Because of the metadata theory, I'm trying to have all my pictures be JPEGs instead of PNGs. And so you're going to want to have this at the appropriate resolution. I've mentioned this before, but you can Google YouTube banner dimensions, and there'll be a lot of different pictures out there, and there'll be like Google articles and different things that'll tell you about the ideal resolution, and also give you a template to understand where it gets cut off on all the different devices. So for example, if you're using Photoshop, you can put that as a layer on your image, make it like 50% transparent so you can just see those lines and move your content to make sure that the critical stuff is in the smallest box that there is. And then you can have other bonus stuff or a larger image or whatever that goes beyond that and try to make it so that none of those lines cuts off a word or like a person unless that's what you want stylistically. Then make the layer invisible when you save the picture and it won't come through. And so, yeah, that's what I'm thinking is this is compressed for one of two reasons, either because of the file type or the resolution. So, also, fonts, certain fonts scale better than others, I've noticed. And so I'm looking at the font you use for your thumbnails, and those seem to scale very well. So if that's the same font you're using in the banner, that's great. If it's not, try it And for everyone watching, there is a free font out there called Bebas, spelled B-E-B-A-S. You can Google it and get it for free, and that's where a lot of the top YouTubers use that font for their thumbnails because it scales really well at different resolutions. So if you're finding some issues with graphic, things with the font, that's something to think about. So what I'd recommend for this banner is get a background image of some kind, something that speaks to your channel. Typewriter, a pad of paper with a bunch of stuff written on it, a novel, pages of a novel, something. Hopefully something you have the rights to. Take the picture yourself if you can. And then have the font on top of it, and then have it a good color contrast with a drop shadow to make it pop, or a stroke outline, something like that. I see you've got a link to your website. And there's no icon here, but if I move my mouse over, there's a link. Oh, okay. You're trying to link to Instagram, but something's gone wrong with the URL. It's trying to do youtube.com/channel/instagram.com/ and then your thing there. And it looks like it's happening with your Twitter as well. So you're going to need to change how you've entered your Twitter and your Instagram URLs. And you can do that on your About page. So let's just jump there. Yeah, that's interesting. So you're going to want to edit that and look at the URL that's in there and play around with the URL so that they link up properly. And do it the same way you've done your website, because that is linking properly. So that's what I would say, is just copy the way that you formatted it. So whether or not it has the www, whether or not you have the HTTP, that kind of stuff, that will probably resolve that for you. 70 views. Looks like you're doing pretty good there. Since I've reviewed your channel before and you're a strong supporter of Small YouTubers Boost, even though you're kind of new to the neighborhood, I'm actually gonna dive into one of these videos. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm gonna find a short one so I don't kill your watch time too bad. This one here, the Fun Fair Vlog. I worked at a fair for 14 years. I'm gonna pause the video, but I'm gonna load up my Videolytics. I have a forthcoming tutorial. Our next tutorial video on this channel, Small YouTubers Boost, is going to be all about Videolytics. I'm thinking of doing a two-parter. The first part will just be covering the basics, but I just want to look at some information here. So, the video's tags appear 3 times in the title and description. Looking at some of the... So, you're ranking on 3 of your search terms, but 2 of them are your channel name. Fair Day Fun, if someone were to search and they weren't logged into YouTube, this video would come up 12th. That's really good for that. But I think it could be better. Interesting. Looks like you have Amazon affiliate links there. Oh yeah, these links are affiliate links. Does not cost you extra. Oh, that's kind of cool. What do you guys think of the fair? So, yeah, what I would try to do is find a way to put more of these terms in here. Like early on at the top, you could, like, I see Ferris wheel. So I'm going to presume at some point you go on a Ferris wheel. Mention it in the description, and you're more likely to rank for that. So that's what, like, the video tags appear 3 times, and you're ranking on 3. It's probably the same 3. So maybe you'll do better if you also include, like, hey, we ride the Ferris wheel and try local fair food and other rides because, you know, we're foodies, and, you know, and then you're going to start getting more of those in there, and that's going to help. You got a Twitter mention and some Facebook likes. That's good. I just going to see if you posted on Reddit and just didn't get uplink or upvotes. No, I'm not seeing it here. So you might want to consider finding somewhere on Reddit to share things. Reddit can be a weird and scary place, so whatever you post to Reddit, don't take the comments too seriously or too to heart. Don't let them crush your spirit. But do consider finding a safe space to share things. I have created a Small YouTubers Boost subreddit, but I don't know what I'm doing. But as long as you follow our basic rules, just, you know, you can share this video here if you want, this video there if you want, with a description of what it's about. And you can use that sort of as a sandbox. There's also the subreddit R Videos, which Achilles Melee has been trying to get me to try more of. So, you know, give Reddit a try. Don't put your heart and soul into it, but put a little bit of time, maybe, because it might pay off well. A lot of people get a lot of traffic from Reddit. And just don't be surprised and don't be heartbroken if somebody says something critical or you get banned from a subreddit. I think I've told the story about how I got banned from a very popular subreddit that has ridiculous rules. One rule was never post anything you didn't make yourself. Another rule was don't self-promote. I don't know how in the hell you do those two things at the same time. I tried, got banned in 35 seconds. So you move on. You find somewhere else that works better for you. You're doing most of the TubeBuddy best practices. That's awesome. The only thing missing there is an end screen. And I think you use TubeBuddy from our conversations, I think. If you've got one of the paid versions of TubeBuddy, there is the Roberto Blake YouTube Starter Pack Sample Kit. I'm getting probably part of that wrong, but it's in there. You can find it pretty easily. And that includes some sort of templates you can use for end screens. And I have used that as a template to create my own end screens for my two channels that I think are doing quite well for me. So, so you can do that, or you can just put basic overlays towards the end of the video if it won't impact the video itself. So end screen's the only piece you're missing there. So there you go. That is my attempt to try and give you a bit more value versus my previous review. I'm doing fairly well. I think most of my Christmas shopping's done, so that's a relief. I might need to get a little more for my mom. She's doing well, by the way. Those of you who watched the live stream where I had to run out halfway through because she was in hospital, she's fine. She's at home. You know, we're doing Christmas and everything, so things are good there. How do you upload an icon? If you're talking about the social links, you don't. The icons are driven by formatting it properly, that it'll turn to the Instagram or the Twitter icon, so long as you link it properly to a social media platform that YouTube knows, and they know pretty much all of them. But for your own website, you can, and that's that .ico file, and judging from looking at your channel, it looks like you have one. And so that is a tiny, tiny image that's like 9 by 9 pixels or something ridiculous. I don't know how anyone uses that to express themselves artistically. Now, when you go to the website in certain web browsers, it turns the icon just left of the URL into that ICO file, that icon. And so YouTube picks that up and pulls it forward if your website has that. If your website doesn't, you get the picture of a blue earth, basically, a two-tone white and blue earth. It almost looks like Facebook. Trying to find the subreddit you created. Yeah, it should be r/small YouTubers boost. That should be it. So feel free to use that as a bit of a sandbox. I don't really moderate it. I don't know what I'm doing there. I might one day, but I'll try to be, you know, nice. Okay, J-Dub the Gamer, are you still around? If so, do you want a channel review? Do you want me to look at the Videolytics for a video, which will be bad for your watch time, but it might give you some useful advice? Or do you have a question? You want a tutorial? You want to know what it's like to manage a large Facebook group? Would you want a tutorial for the basics of OBS to put on this small YouTubers Boost channel? Heck yeah, that's an awesome idea for a member tip video, J-Dub. Yeah, if you want to throw something together, and like I said, we'll gladly link to you. We'll have to sort of own the content when you send it to us, but we'll definitely link to you in the description. We can put, like, you know, Cryon and stuff in the video, and you can mention it, whatever. But yeah, if you've got something about OBS, I'm still learning it, and so yeah, that's a cool idea. That would be great. Happy Yule. Yeah, Yule. There's one I missed. Happy Yule. All right, I was trying to find what J-Dub the Gamer would like. I said hi to John. Yeah, you mass upload, schedule a video date. That's cool. Some tricks about scheduling the videos I've found is a little problematic because I find that the social sharing doesn't work great if you try to pre-program it. Maybe it would work better if you have a tool like Hootsuite. I've never tried Hootsuite, although I do recommend their blog because their blog. They also have on Hootsuite, they have this online social media manager training course. It's largely a bunch of videos with little quizzes, but you can take the whole course for free. You can try and skip the ones where they try to sell you their product. And then at the end, just don't take the test. and it costs you nothing. I learned a lot doing that. So I don't know about Hootsuite the tool. I've never tried it, but their blog is interesting. That actually gave me the idea to create a Facebook group, which is Instagram Travel Instagrammers Boost, I think. I forget what I called it, but it has over 6,000 members already, and that was actually inspired by Hootsuite blog. So I recommend reading their blog and taking their free course. Don't pay for the test unless you want to put it in your resume. Got a little off topic there. DJ Talks is back. Hey man, good to see you. Did not know about hashtags. That's what I'm here for. Yeah, so J-Dub says, from what he heard, the file names are read and help the SEO slightly. And that's the thing, it's probably slightly. But if we do enough of these slight things, when do they start to add up? When do they become synergistic and feed on themselves? Where's the keyword alignment just perfect that you've mentioned it in all the right places that YouTube is like, this guy is definitely talking about that subject. I mean, I've talked in the past about say it out loud, put it in the captions, put it in the title, put it in the description, put it in the keywords, and YouTube's pretty confident. But what if there's another layer? Put it in the file name, put it in the properties. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, not sure about the metadata. That would be a good question for that guy I was going to do a collab with, and I had to reschedule, or he did. And I've been meaning to get back. He was going to, BJ, I think was his name. He was going to be like my last collab that I was going to do for a while. I need to reschedule that with him, probably in January or something. But he, I think, got a look at some old code for the algorithm. He might be able to answer that question if he's still kicking around somewhere. Channel review. All right. And you're putting that video together. That is awesome, man. I love this community. It's funny how the image takes a second to refresh, so it's always the previous one for like a second, and I'm like, what? And then it fixes itself. I don't know if it shows that way on your guys' end, but it's funny to me. Let's check OBS. Things look good. I don't know about this mug, but, you know, it's working. That's what matters. All right, let me just take a look around. Sea monkeys is the top search term that's not your name. I am intrigued. Video. Oh, man. Tell me you're not putting video as a meta tag on your videos. Nobody searches the word video on YouTube. Sega. Ooh. Retro gaming, perhaps? Alf. Alf 80s TV show. Oh my god, you have... Oh man, I gotta come back to this on my own time and check some of this. The classic Alf in the 80s in a video game. Yeah, I think there was an Alf game. Never played it. This is awesome. I love this. I love Alf. Although Alf, the Christmas special, stay away from that episode. That is dark. Like, spoiler alert, but like, as I recall, there's a girl in the hospital and she dies at the end. And this is a comedy sitcom that is a puppet, so it's for kids to a degree. This is like traumatic. That having been said, skip the Christmas episode, special, whatever, and the rest of that show is hilarious. I love that show. They had brought it to Amazon Prime back when I had Prime for a brief period, but it was only Prime in the US. And I didn't get around to doing the whole, you know, VPN thing or whatever. I would love to watch some Alf again. You know, bring back Alf. Yeah, why not? The world could use some Alf. That's alien life form. That's right, I know what I'm talking about. It was like a running gag on the show about how, like, nobody knew who Jay Leno was. If they brought back, and, you know, for people who talk about Full House and stuff, that is not a reboot. It is a revival. A reboot is like what they did in the 2007 Star Wars, Star Trek movie. Oh, geek fail. The one with Chris Pine. And I'm a massive Star Trek geek, so I can dig myself out of this hole, don't you worry. But that was sort of a reboot, because that recast the characters and started them fresh. But, you know, I don't want a reboot of Alf. I want a revival of Alf. I want Alf to, you know, because also I want to see what he thinks about the path that Jay Leno's career took. I don't know, Alf eats cats. Do you think PETA would have a problem with that? But he's an alien. I don't know. I'm getting way off topic. I just found another Alf fan in the world. I'm excited. You know, often I'll go onto Netflix and I'll look for like classic sitcoms from the 80s. And I'll be like, there's no Family Ties, there's no Night Court, there's no Elf. Like, why do you exist, Netflix, if not for that? Couldn't you scrape together $2 to get the licensing fees for those? And, like, I would binge the hell out of that, and there's no way I'm the only one. Off-topic rant. I rant a lot. Maybe this is my therapy. This is cathartic for me. Okay, channel review. That profile picture really kind of reminds me of my Talency one for that background. Looks pretty good. Doesn't communicate that you're a gamer, but it's in the name, so you're probably okay. One suggestion is maybe putting a controller as a layer behind the face, but in front of the background. Just a thought. But I think you're probably fine with what you have. Let's see the description. I'm JDub the Gamer, and I make a series called Dub Derange, where I play the strangest games of all time. I also have another... So... It's not bad. It tells me what your channel is about to a certain degree, and that's cool, and I like that. But it's really written in the first person. And I mentioned this, I think, in the last live stream. What if your channel was... Like, you know, some YouTubers are going to Amazon Prime, right? Let's say Netflix or YouTube... Or, sorry, Netflix or Amazon Prime were to, you know, call you up one day and say, we're going to put you on our platform. What kind of descriptions do you think would appear in Netflix to describe your channel, your show, and for each episode? And what is the way that that's written in? What's the voice they use? And I don't think it's really written in the first person. So I'm thinking try to write a description that sounds like it's a channel description on Netflix, but maybe a little better because those aren't always great. Sometimes they're funny. So mentioning your name helps with the SEO in the series. JDub the Gamer runs Dub Derange, where we play the strangest games of all time, from the Alf game to Pokemon Quest to Smash Bros. Ultimate, whatever. I mean, I don't know that the second two are... I don't even know what Quest is. Smash Bros. Ultimate's probably not that strange. But anyways, you can try listing a couple maybe, to give them an example. Is it strangest retro games of all time? Modern games? Everything? Is it Sega? I don't know. So maybe not writing in the first person and putting a little bit more meat on the bones so that... Because the thing is, and I talked about this before on live streams, I should stop saying that because I don't know who's new and who's not. But like a third of all of YouTube is gamers. Another third is vloggers. And then the rest of us is where people like me live. So saying gamer doesn't narrow it down hugely. It narrows it down to a third of the pie. And so trying, I think, to clearly and rapidly narrow it down further so people know what they're getting can be beneficial for clarity's sake. For one thing, if you were to post in the Facebook group, Small YouTubers Boost, which I've kind of come from here, if you just said, hey, I'm a gamer and I have the Dub Derange series where I play the strangest games of all time, that post might not get approved because it's not really descriptive about what it's about beyond gamer. So, yeah. You play them. Do you review them? Is it Let's Plays? Is it comedic reviews? And I know that I'm talking about the beginning of your description. And so there's not a lot of space in that beginning. So I might be judging you with, like, by a tweet, basically. And that's probably not fair. But these are just some thoughts, some things to think about. Let's take a look here. Geez, it's getting kind of late. I'm surprised I'm able to run this long. Okay. So you got Link there from Link to the Past. Have you played Link Between Worlds? If you haven't, oh my god, it's amazing. Link Between Worlds and Bravely Default and Bravely Second, those three games alone are a reason to buy a 3DS. So if you haven't played Link Between Worlds, it is a direct sequel to Link to the Past, except at one point, spoiler alert, you get the power to become two-dimensional against a wall. But the overworld map's the same, but the dungeons are different. I played it twice. It's awesome. And you got classic Mario there. I'm not sure about these other two characters. And again, I would suggest looking at a template just to make sure, or checking this out to make sure it looks the way you want on a phone. The font is a little... I mean, I get what you're going for. You're going for like an Atari pixelation there. because that's more pixelated even than the NES for the title. If you don't play Atari games, feel free to bring the, let's go to full 8-bit there maybe, because it's a little hard to read, particularly the is blue on blue here. So that's a thing. And so I'm thinking, so a slightly higher resolution based font that's more 8 or 16-bit versus this really screams Atari. Unless you also play Atari, but I'm not seeing much indication of Atari stuff here. So, yeah. You've got a subscribe button there. My personal feeling is that's redundant because you have a subscribe button right below here on your channel. You got Twitter, you got Patreon, Facebook, and Twitch. So I would say ask yourself really, like, if you had to drive traffic to something that's not YouTube, what do you want that to be most of all, and put that first. And probably, I probably wouldn't have the subscribe, the YouTube link there. And so I ask this every time I see a Patreon because I'm still wrapping my head around Patreon. I've been a Patreon supporter of other people but never run my own. And that is, what kind of unique things do you offer to your supporters? Are you using it as a donation tool, or do you give them early access to your content, or do you make special content for them? Maybe there's a blog that only your patrons can see, or maybe you get them to vote on your next game or video, or you do a live Q&A there or something. I don't know. I'm just curious. I'll check the chat a little later for your answer. So you got uploads, Dub Deranged Season 1. The season thing. I'm struggling with that myself right now on my Vacation Impossible channel. Basically, I call each trip a season, and I don't know. I'm starting to wonder if it's helping me or not, but I don't have good advice there. So, yeah, you got some reviews and stuff. Really good here. I would recommend adding a row at the bottom of your most popular videos. If you just edit the channel, it's a basic YouTube function, and YouTube will populate it. Got popular channels there. So earlier in the live stream, I was talking about activating the channels that you specifically recommend. I do recommend doing that. Yeah, you got some videos. That's cool. I really want to watch the off video. But I can't right now because I made rules that I have to follow. This is what I do. I make rules, and then I make myself follow the rules. I do the same thing in the Facebook group for the most part. But that way I try not to be a lawless heathen. Or, breaking your own rules, I think, really upsets people. And so I try not to do that, particularly, in a public way. But, yeah, so you got some videos there. Looks pretty good. I know you've got playlists. You got at least those 3. That's not bad. So there's no channel trailer. So you might want to consider that. I mean, you talked about playing some, like, the strangest games. So 60-second something of clips of just a bunch of strange games doing strange things might not be a bad idea. That is part of the thing that would hook me in as an audience person. Like I think about Cinemassacre, AVGN. He's got so many things going for him. It's amazing. I've met him. He's an amazing guy. James is awesome. But I think about the opening to the Angry Video Game Nerd. It's got that classic song. I've been at conventions singing it to him. I love that stuff. I'm only slightly embarrassed to admit. And I was watching his stuff largely before he was up on YouTube. Back in like 2006, 2007, I was watching a lot of his stuff before he was so well known. But at the beginning of the Angry Video Game Nerd videos where that theme song is playing, they show a lot of clips of different games and funny things happening, clips of his reactions, special effects he's done with Hadoukens or whatever, the Mecha Death Christ and all that. And that's great for, I think, somebody new coming to the channel, because that's serving as a bit of a teaser trailer on its own. It's a bit of a sizzle reel. So maybe ask yourself, if you had to create a minute of clips from your videos to be a backing to like the opening of an Angry Video Game Nerd video, What would that look like? What clips would you? I mean, if you're watching right now, you're probably thinking. I'm hoping you're thinking like, oh yeah, there's that time I, did whatever, this silly mistake or something, or this weird glitch, or this amazing accomplishment. Show little clips of that, and that would be a really good channel trailer. I'm a big supporter of the Mario Marathon. They raise money for Child's Play charity. And last couple of years, I've flown out to Indianapolis to actually participate with them and help them raise money for Children's Hospital. It's an amazing experience. I've been a fan of theirs since their second year, and they've been at it for a decade now. And there was a moment where, I think it was in the second Mario Marathon, or maybe the third, and it's known in the lore of Mario Marathon as key fail. And so this was, I think it's, what do they call that world in Mario World? The Lost Woods or whatever the wood world is called in Mario World. And you probably know the level already that I'm talking about, where you have to kind of go under, there's like a wood platform and there's a lower one. You have to go there to get a key, and then put the key in the key slot to get a secret exit that opens up another path. And that's just a thing you need to do if you're doing a 100% run of Mario World. And so I think Dan or somebody was playing, maybe it was Nate, I forget who. They tried like 2 or 3 times to get it, and they were dying because they weren't really focusing. Things were happening in the room. They hadn't played the game in a while. They weren't very good at it. That happens, and they're cool about admitting that. But anyways, they grabbed the key, they turned around, and they threw the key off the ledge. And so that became known as key fail. And some people turn that into like T-shirts and stuff. It's like, it's part of the lore. So if you've got your own key fail moment, put it in a channel trailer so that people see why they might want to dive in. So I'm looking at your uploads here, and I'm seeing something kind of interesting. And I'm drawn to this update video, but I'm sorry to say it's not for good reasons. I also am a big fan of Pat Contry. And Pat Contry has talked a lot about videos that he's done and his own success on YouTube and stuff. His Not So Common podcast is pretty good. I know I'm name dropping like crazy here, but whatever. It's just relevant. And I'm not sponsored by anybody for this video, so this is just me talking about stuff I like that is hopefully relevant to what we're talking about. One of the things he talks about is like how mistakes he's made in his YouTube journey. And I want to try and learn from the mistakes of others so I can save myself, hopefully, some embarrassment and time. And so he talks about how, actually Ian razzes him on the Completely Unnecessary podcast a lot about, he used to do these update videos that were apparently super, I guess the word now is cringy, but, painful to watch, whatever, just bad. And so he privated all of them years ago before I discovered him, which is a shame because I want to go and watch those. I want to see cringy Pat and what he was, what his updates were. But I am what's known as a true fan of Pat Contry. I will buy almost anything that guy puts out. Most people aren't like that, and so why I'm talking about this is both Pat Contry and Roberto Blake have both stated publicly, repeatedly, that update videos hurt channels. I want to say that close to the microphone and close to the camera. Update videos can hurt channels. And I'm sorry to say that I think this is an example that we can look at quite clearly, because let's look at your recent videos. In your 5 most recent videos, the one that has the fewest number of views is your update video. It's 22 views. Every other video has more than that. So I don't think update videos are doing your channel well. Now, you can look into your analytics and see if it's driving subscribers. If it is, people are commenting and get a lot of thumbs up, then maybe it's okay. But here's the thing. If your video is about games, and then you make a video about the channel, sort of a meta video, a video about the videos, then that's more about like being a creator and that sort of thing. And so that's not, ironically, a video about your brand is possibly not on brand. Is possibly not what people come for. If you were a vlogger, that might make a bit more sense, because they would be coming expecting you to be on camera and talking about your life or what your channel's doing or whatever. That would probably be more in line with it. But the problem with an update video, not just about the impact on your subscribers or your potential audience, is that the videos tend to underperform, and we're seeing that right here. It's the oldest of the 5 most recent videos, but the fewest views, which means it's had the most chance to be successful. Actually, quick second here. I want to point something out that J-Dub, the gamer, is doing that everyone should be doing, and he's captioning his videos. Not everyone, and that's understandable. Believe me, I haven't captioned all of mine. But look at this. He's got 2 videos that he's got captioned. So, good job, you. For your other videos that you might want to caption, and not captioning a live stream, Don't blame you. I wouldn't want to caption what's happening right now. I wouldn't want to have to listen to myself say this again and type it all out. That sounds super tedious. But for these shorter edited videos, captioning it makes really good sense. So what I recommend for captioning, this is going to be my last channel review because it's getting a little late for me. This was a short one, and I didn't really advertise it in advance. So hopefully you didn't have high expectations. But the trick for captioning is upload the video, and I mean, if you can do it right away and you don't mind typing it all out, that will be better. But if you don't want to put that level of work in, upload the video and wait like a couple days. And hopefully it will have at some point have been auto-captioned. I don't know what triggers an auto-captioning on YouTube. If you know in chat, please tell me, because I'd love to know. But then all you have to do is click edit, go in and fix the mistakes, correct the timing slightly, and hit publish, and it's captioned. And so the YouTube bot that does auto-captioning does most of the work for you. So I do recommend that. Captioning, in my experience on my Vacation Impossible channel, has increased viewership between 8 and 11%. That ain't nothing. Wouldn't we all love another 8 to 11% of views? That's not a hugely impressive number necessarily, but you can't tell me anyone would say no to that. You might not be worth the work. That I can understand if you make that choice. But there's an option for you. I'm telling you right now, that's a way that many people, at least in my experience, can gain 8 to 11% viewership over what they're getting now. Caption your videos. Another reason you want to do that, when YouTube knows the words you're saying, it's another data point, and if it ties in and you say the word that exists in the title, the description, the tags, the file name, the metadata, YouTube is super confident that that's what you're all about. And updating the auto captions are good too, because my auto captions, I was editing some the other day that were so wrong and frankly kind of borderline offensive. We were laughing about it here when I spotted it. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe they thought we said that. But I don't know how many people, I mean, it was one of our underperforming videos I've been optimizing again. So I don't think many people saw it, and thank God for that. But it was not good. It's something that would have branded my channel as not safe for all ages, I think. And so I don't want to repeat it here, but it was very funny. Anyways, I've gotten like 3 different off topics there. But just getting back to this update video. So the thing about the update video is that the description, the title, and the words being spoken and all that other stuff is not likely to line up with the other keywords that your channel's using as much. So that's one of the reasons those can be problematic. That having been said, I'm not saying make it private or delete it or whatever, and I'm not saying you can't do update videos. I'm just not sure YouTube's the right platform. I think there might be a better platform for an update video, depending on if you can make it kind of short and sweet. And like you're on Twitter, you're on Facebook. I think those might be good places. Maybe talking about it while you're live streaming a game on Twitch. Those are places where that might make more sense. But YouTube is so competitive and so caught up in the algorithm, and the algorithm is seemingly obsessed with niching down to the tiniest sliver. Like, I had a travel channel, and YouTube was like, I don't know what you're about. And so I had a cruising channel, and YouTube's like, I don't know what you're about. I had a carnival cruising channel. YouTube's like, ah, okay, now you have a topic. And that's when popular channels, which I see you have here, converted into related channels. And suddenly YouTube knew enough about me to recommend me to other channels and other channels to my audience as well. And then I started to gain momentum based on that. The algorithm was doing me a bit of a favor. And people who want the algorithm to do more for you and think that it's like screwing you by not being your best friend, I think that's a sense of entitlement. I think if Machiavelli said fortune is fickle, and he said a lot more, but I won't dive into it because I want to wrap this up soon. But I bet you weren't expecting some Machiavelli here. But part of that is, in my mind, what he talks about is you want to be prepared to capitalize on the unusual, unexpected good fortune, but you can't rely on it. And the algorithm is completely that. The algorithm has machine learning where it's changing itself, reprogramming itself as it learns, for good or ill. So it might work with you one day and against you the next. Although, again, it's not against you. It's just favoring someone instead of you. So, I think people who complain about that part of the algorithm, I say complain that it's not transparent. That's fair. Complain that it's not consistent. Complain that it can turn its back on you at any time. But to say that it's not doing enough for you, why should anyone do something for you? unless you're providing, you know, value add, as they say, or reason. So that's just a personal little rant on my part. But I also don't think it makes us look good when small YouTubers are saying like, oh, the algorithm only favors big YouTubers. It's biased towards success, and a lot of things are. Television is, tons of other, like, you know, radio. We are often biased towards success, just in the things that we choose to do and watch. If you pick up a game you've never played before and it's aggressively hard right away and the learning curve's impossible, then that's not great. But if you're playing a shooter, if you're playing some Gradius or something, and you're able to do okay, and there's a learning curve that's steady, like some of the early Final Fantasy games, the first castle you went to was super hard, and the second one was much easier. What the hell? Doesn't make sense. And that turns people off. But if they're able to build on success, then that's just an example of how we're biased towards success. So I say let's not be pissed at the algorithm for that. For one thing, it's a computer program. It doesn't care what we feel. And, you know, how much does YouTube even know about how the algorithm works? It's been rewriting itself for a while. So, anyways, went off topic there quite a bit. Let's check out the channelytics here. That's weird. It's showing no links, but I know that's a lie. That's interesting. The subscriber count is interesting. Nostalgic knockoffs. Yeah, I think these tags are fine. I think you want to add more tags. Add tags about some of the genres, the platforms. I think, you know, reviews, I think, was a thing you do. That should be in there somewhere. And maybe, like, you know, look at the more successful videos that you have that get more views, and maybe mention some of those topics in there and see if that helps you. So I'd flesh that out a little bit more. Nothing wrong with what's there. I'm not suggesting you necessarily remove anything currently there, but I think you want to say more, like, you know, Sega, game reviews, Alf. You know, you got my vote for that. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to bring up the channelytics again just to see if there's any interesting spikes in what's going on. Not a lot of data to go on there. Okay, you, like me, had a long stretch in November with no videos. I sympathize. Life gets in the way, man. It's a pain sometimes. Let's check out your About page. ROM hacks. There you go, ROM hacks. There's a keyword for you. Fan games. So this is all fine, really, but other than the feedback I provided earlier. The one thing that I would add as an additional statement is add a second paragraph. Try to include some examples. Mention specific games or, you know, platform genres. You know, you got an NES controller, you got a Famicom, Super Famicom controller, Genesis controller, and I'm thinking PlayStation 1. So, you know, mention some of the platforms. Mention Link and Mario or something. Well, the videos that do well. Mention, like, you know, follow the rule of 3. You know, we cover Mario, Zelda, and Final Fantasy, whatever. So that helps with the SEO, and it also flushes it out. And another thing that I would include, and I've talked about this before at length, so I'll give you a short version, is just talk about the why of what you do. If there is a higher purpose for you doing this, then mention it explicitly, and people might emotionally identify with what you're trying to do. You're obviously putting time and effort into this. Why are you doing that? I mean, if it's just to become rich and famous, then maybe don't necessarily mention that. If you're trying to pull yourself out of poverty, maybe, I don't know. But if it's something else, if it's like you're trying to recapture a nostalgic love of games that you want to share with the next generation, or you want to help people discover additional games for systems that they loved, but games they didn't know about, or something like that. You just want to make people laugh and brighten their day. Whatever it is, what emotional motivation gets you up, puts your butt in the seat at the computer editing a video? I know editing can be super tedious. It's getting started on editing a video is one of the hardest motivation points for me. I got like tons of footage I need to edit. I've got tons of ideas in my head I want to film. The hardest thing is motivating me to open that Adobe Premiere Pro and start from nothing. So what makes you do that? Why do you put that effort in? Whatever program you use, whatever your process is. This is some kind of work, some kind of effort. You might enjoy it on the whole. You might enjoy every second of it. It's entirely possible. If that's true, mention it. But if sometimes you need to motivate yourself, think about how and why and what is that motivation, and is that something that you could express here in a sentence or 3, 5 maximum, a paragraph basically, and just, you know, maybe people will connect with you on an emotional level if they understand what you're trying to accomplish. And not, I want to be the most popular YouTuber ever, I want to hit 10,000 subs, I want a play button, I want, like, those aren't necessarily the things people, you'll get some, maybe, but I think more people identify with something with a slightly more noble purpose, you know, so trying to share the hidden gems that developers poured their heart and soul into, but never got the recognition they deserve. Something, anything like that, whatever speaks to you emotionally, and it could speak to others, and then you can, you know, build your tribe, as sometimes people say. And again, referring to other channels, recommending other channels, I talked about it earlier. I think that's a good thing to do from a community standpoint. All right, I'm going to get caught up on chat and then wrap things up. DJ Talks tries to caption every video. You are a hero, a soldier, maybe not a hero, but sorry, I didn't mean that. I might have came off the wrong way. I mean, you know, firefighters, policemen, soldiers, nurses, and doctors, these are heroes. Captioning your video makes you better than average. It makes you a soldier in the YouTube army, let's say. Yeah, it's, but no, I mean, I know how tedious that is. And the thing is it's for people who might be differently abled, either through a lack of language knowledge or a lack of being able to hear, or just a lack of opportunity. Maybe they don't have headphones. So, anyways, yeah, I mean, props for me for doing that tedious work, because that kind of stuff really tells me, and probably the algorithm, you're serious about YouTube. And so that's the kind of people I like helping out, because they're working for it. They're not playing, they're not sitting on their butts just waiting to become rich off of nothing. All right, let's see here. Matt, glad my mom is okay. Thank you. I only use video as a rendition of a keyword. I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that. If it's part of a larger keyword, then that might be relevant, but if it's its own keyword, it's probably just wasting space. And if you don't have TubeBuddy, get TubeBuddy, and it can recommend you some keywords. If you get the free version, it only recommends 3 keywords at a time, and then you get more and more all the way up to Legend, where it will drop a Brinks truck of keywords on you. You played Link Between Worlds. You love it. Good. Glad to hear it. Man after my own heart. Seasonal breaks. Same thing with the seasons. Yeah, I don't... Yes, they talked about an OBS video. Very excited about doing that. That would be great. I don't know about doing a second channel for updates. I just think it plays better. Like, you could do an Instagram video, a video on Twitter. Not a lot of people create video on Twitter, so that could do well. I've heard that. I've tested it a little bit. It looks like it would do well. And on Facebook, Facebook is desperate to get more people creating video there. So maybe talk about the mechanics of your channel and the update there rather than creating a channel, because I don't think that channel would necessarily do well. Part of a larger keyword. Okay, cool. So anyways, I'm about to wrap up. So, you know, happy holidays, everybody. I don't know if I'll be able to go live again. I'm hoping sometime before the end of the year, maybe, but probably not before Christmas. So, you know, Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Yule, whatever you celebrate. I hope that it's a good time for you, and that you find something that you get something that you want out of life, whether it's love and time with family or actual presence, monetary stuff, whatever it is. I try to end these things with a challenge, and so I'm trying to think of a good challenge this time. Okay, here is your mission, if you choose to accept it, because, you know, I'm Vacation Impossible. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to go onto Twitter and try to find someone in your niche and try to help them answer a question. Find someone on Twitter you can help. That is your mission if you choose to accept it. I don't know what game to play next. Go recommend a game. You know, something in your niche. Try to help someone. Don't link to your video. Don't do anything like that. Just reply text only with an answer to a question that helps someone, because that can start to form a relationship and get you active in the space. Then maybe they'll check out your Twitter feed, and that's where they'll see your links and your videos and your other things. So that's your challenge if you choose to accept it. This video will self-destruct in 5 seconds.